welcome to Construction Sport Weekly. Another roundup of the week's events from Construction Sport, and also a roundup of the news that is out there in the construction world. Big week for us on Monday. We started strong. We went to an event with Construction Wave. If you haven't seen Construction Wave, go online and sign up to their newsletter. It's good. It's informative. A lot going on there. Andrew Curtin, the main man who founded it, is a good pal. He put on an event in London. That's a very smart place. Fair play. It was for the finance sector of the construction industry, so say, also known as CFOs. It went good. That was cool. Like I say, just by Trafalgar Square, very, very fancy, very fancy. But there was a lot of good people in the room, had a lot of very good conversations. Was there pretty much from at 9 o'clock till 7 o'clock. So it was a long day, but it was good, very good. Well done to Andrew Curtin and Construction Wave. If you haven't seen him, constructionwave.com, if you want a little bit of a news of what's going on in the construction sector, in the main kind of infrastructure in the tier one world, the big corporate side of it. It's good. And then, this week, done a bit of jiu-jitsu this morning. Signed up to jiu-jitsu. Me and a mate, mine, good friend and follower and, shall we say, supporter and founder of Construction Sport, one of the founding members, Sam Sharp, WRS Contracts. We went and done jiu-jitsu at our local Gracie Baha gym. Was very good. Wrapped each other's legs around each other's heads a few times. Made each other cry a bit, tapped a bit. And had a good time, really. A good little roll around on the mats. What could go wrong? It was a good laugh. And then also got back in the gym yesterday. That was good crack with Brad Rogers of Brad Rogers Plumbing and Electrical. That was good. Trying to get back training a little bit. Only getting older. Back's only getting worse. And I need to make myself healthier so we don't die early. That is pretty much the truth of it. Got to keep yourself healthy, guys. Healthy heads, healthy minds, healthy bodies and all that jazz. And then fixed.com, I believe it is, just whilst I remember. Fixed, actually, I'm going to quickly Google this because I just need to know what the website is actually. So fixed construction jobs. Let's have a look. If I'm construction jobs. So fixedconstruction.co.uk. If you are a construction worker and you want to keep yourself open to jobs and jobs in specific certain areas, please log on to fixedconstruction.co.uk and register your details. It will ask for probably your NI number and a few security checks. It's almost like a private kind of little profile section, similar to Facebook, should we say, where you can upload a bit of a CV, but in a construction terminology, you can upload it. And the guys at Fixed, who I spoke to this morning, are great. This is not paid advertisement. This is purely just to give them a bit of support, because I actually think it's really good for the sector. And if we all get behind it, it'll be brilliant. But they find over 500 plus UK construction jobs daily and send out the best ones to anyone on their checklist. So pretty much, say you're in London and you are looking for work, or potentially know you're going to be looking for work, sign up to fixedconstruction.co.uk. Go on there, tap in your details, give them a bit of love and the like, wherever. It's really straightforward and it's really responsive. Even when you're working, they'll keep on popping jobs alerts to you, just so you know and you're aware. You might be able to find some more money down the road. You never know. Blue, go have a look at fixedconstruction.co.uk. Great bunch of people there. I was with them on Monday and I'm a big fan of what they're doing. So I would like to give it a free little plug. HS2 Viaduct, you silly boys and girls. The viaduct blunder over wonky concrete segments. If you go around the M25, actually, I think that is this same area. Yeah, Colne Valley, I'm pretty sure that's it. They're actually, there was a massive precast warehouse section on the actual site. But unfortunately, a concrete joint on the HS2 Colne Valley Viaduct is being drilled out this week after two giant segments on the crossing was misaligned. Main contract Align JV, made up by Boyds Trafford Publics, Sir Rob McAlpine and Volker Fitzpatrick, started remedial work on Monday and hopes to get back on track with a planned construction schedule next week. No major issue, guys. It's just a little bit of concrete gone wrong. It can all be sorted out. It's got to be the engineer's fault. It can't be the ground worker's fault or the people on the tools. I'm not having it. Used to always have these arguments about things are wrong and the blame game comes on, so defend the ones on the ground at all costs. The engineers are just the brains. They should stay in the offices and let us get on with it. But we like them, really. Right, the CITB celebrates a High Court ruling in a £28 million grant row. A payroll, this is on Construction News. A payroll firm involved in a long-running dispute with the Construction Industry Training Board over £8 million levy payments has lost parts of its legal battle. In 2018, the CITB assessed the Hudson Contract Services that owe $27.4 million in levy fees and is effectively a construction company. Hudson also lost in March 2020 Employment Tribunal. Oh, it's all a bit sticky, this situation, isn't it? Hudson issued a claim for £28.1 million in CITB grants covering the same period, arguing that if it was considered a construction company, it would be eligible for the grants. Oh, sticky stuff that. I'm getting out of this. Don't get me involved with that stuff. Iconic BT Tower, the bacon and tomato tower, as we called it in my family, in London, to become a hotel. Reported by constructionwave.co.uk. The US hotel owner-operator MCR has agreed to buy the iconic BT Tower in London from the BT Group. If anything that the British own in Britain, we must sell it to foreign nationals so they can take our stuff off us. We sell everything, don't we, the British? We was having a chat the other day, actually. Anything like that. It always goes back to Dartford Bridge. Yeah, we sold that. We're supposed to stop charging people 10 years ago, and they never bloody did, and they've just carried on, and now we're just getting the French are taking all our bloody money. That's what we always hear. 177-metre tall landmark structure was used to transmit television broadcasts following its opening in Fitzrovia in 1965 by the Prime Minister at the time, Mr. Harold Wilson. At one time, it had been the tallest building in London until the NatWest Tower was built in the city. MCR owns and operates some of the New York's best-known hotels, including the Highline Hotel and the TWA Hotel at JFK Airport. BT Group will take several years to vacate the premises due to the scale and complexity of the work to move technical equipment inside. Heatherwick Studio has been appointed to redesign the new hotel building. That would be quite cool, wouldn't it? I've never been up there. I know a few people do. I know a few people worked at BT over the years, and I think it has a revolving floor as well, where you sit and have your dinner and you just go around in circles. I think. Don't hold me on that. Here's one for you. Grenfell Tower. Sticky conversation, guys. Very political. Big mess. Obviously, a massively tragic incident a number of years ago. And there is a big campaign, obviously, the Justice for Grenfell. But Firefighters Union announces settlements for members affected by the Grenfell Tower. The union representing firefighters across the UK has announced that claims for its members injured in the Grenfell tragedy have been settled for £20 million in a high court. The claims brought by 114 firefighters, some of whom were unable to work again due to severe trauma, for personal injury and loss caused by alleged negligence and breach of statutory duty when they attended a blaze on the 14th of June 2017 in the 24-storey Grenfell Tower. Now, my thing with this is that is bang on right, the fire brigade or whoever it is, if they're suffering with something they did, they deserve that, as far as I'm aware. I know there's a lot of controversy and stuff, but there's obviously something with that. But what about the construction workers now? What construction workers? The scaffolders of Grenfell Tower. I tell you why I say this, because I've been speaking to them recently, a number of people who worked on the Grenfell Tower as scaffolders. Those people, just like the firemen, were first up that tower once it was safe to do so. Well, obviously, the firefighters were first, but a lot of scaffolders I know who went up that tower saw a lot of stuff they would never, ever envisage seeing, were never actually trained to do so as a scaffolder. I know one guy on there actually brought a lot of protection in terms of mental protection and psychiatric kind of support for the guys who was doing it at the time, and he's a great man. He will remain nameless for the sake of his safety and any political shit. But they put the scaffolding up the tower, obviously Grenfell, if you class it as the building, and see a lot of stuff through windows that they would never, ever forget. And I've spoken to a few people there who have said that colleagues have never been the same again since working on that site. So my little plug here is, what about the compensation for the guys that saw that stuff? Because I know they're hugely affected. And rightly so, the firefighters were. There's a hell of a lot of people who know the community around there. There's huge. That's why this Justice for Grenfell, I think, has been such a big campaign. And it just shows really, doesn't it? There's in West London as well, that big, heavily rich area. And then all the kind of political stuff that goes there. It's quite a dangerous subject even to try and talk about it, isn't it? You just don't know what's going on there. I don't know enough to know the rules and regs or the political side of it, but there's obviously a lot of justice that is deserved for a lot of people. Unfortunately, that's hugely, hugely tragic. Construction representatives. We have been speaking this week again about a council or something of the other, of none towards. We have the Construction Leadership Council, and what I've been told this week as well, speaking to a number of people, is I think as Andy Stevens mentioned, only 2% of the sector is governed by tier one contractors or is made up of tier ones. The rest is all SMEs. And with that means 98% of the industry isn't part of the tier one kind of process or whatever. But the Leadership Council, the people that represent construction, if you look at all CEOs of that Leadership Council are all part of the tier one side. So they're only representing 2% of the industry, but liaising with government and HSC and all them people on behalf of the whole of it. Now, we don't think and we don't believe that the right representation is being put in place for the construction folk. So people, over to you out there, but do we need representatives from the ground of the industry and within this all the trades to be recognised by the powers that be? We rather do it again by forming a new council, or we pressurise the Leadership Council to let them know they need to open the door to people who actually work in this industry on the ground outside of that 2%. So we're talking a head of groundworks, a head of bricklaying, a head of or representative groundworks, a representative of bricklayers, a representative of machine operators, a representative of scaffolders. Every single trade you can think of, every side of the industry should have a senior rep or some kind of representational body in place, what then liaises to another one, then liaises to another one, and get to the top of the tree is the government. They can then act on the information they're getting. At the moment, there is no representation, but all we've got is a very, very unregulated industry. The people within the Leadership Council, no disrespect to them, I've said a few things in the past, but they're just volunteers at the end of the day. They're not really paid and governed to run this as a financial incentive. This is more of a, forgive me for saying it, but an ego-driven thing, I think, where people can say, I'm part of the Leadership Council. Well, yes, you are, but what are you doing? Because everybody says you ain't doing nothing. So hopefully they will open their doors one day and let us have a chat. We've nearly been there. A few contacts get in touch who liaise with them guys and who are part of the Leadership Council, but never just to sit down and say, can we listen to what we think? Let people speak, a number of people out there, but myself included, love to sit down and just say, this is what's happening. This is the truth on site. Can we please come together for the best of the industry and make a positive change? CITB, CSCS cards, however you want to put it. The CSCS card system, again, up in the air, isn't it? I'm just trying to get my head around it this week. People, I've not had a CSCS card since the 2011, 2012 when mine expired. I've worked across all the major contractors, even the tier ones, and I've done it all without a CSCS card because I had the online check. And now that's just literally what I used every time I went somewhere. So I can't get the card unless I do an MVQ. And I'm not prepared to do an MVQ because I don't like academics or doing classroom stuff. So I just pushed on literally with my SMSTS certificate and also a online checker, what shows that I've done my touchscreen test within the last X amount of years. So the grandfather rights that kick in at the end of this year, please make note and be aware of that. I think I don't understand it fully. It confuses the hell out of me, but certain people who haven't got the right testing done in a certain amount of time or an MVQ now between now and Christmas, come New Year 2024 to 2025, your ticket's gone. And if you're on the big construction site area, it means you literally haven't got a job. It's crazy. Overnight, you lose everything. Not fair in an industry that's so pressured with mental health pressures and suicides fucking causing huge amounts of issues. It's terribly worrying that is actually going to happen. Hopefully, something comes to light and things change and people realise that what's in place isn't working. Something needs to be massively done. Just for instance, talking to Andy Stevens again actually last week, he's 48 years old, experienced in the construction world massively in terms of on private residential stuff. Doesn't go onto a site where he needs a CSCS card, but being an experienced man with ex-businesses, big broadcasting history in the construction world, if he goes into a building site as a 48-year-old, very, very experienced man, he has to start off with a CSCS card that says he's a labourer. So, little flaw in the system there, Mr. CSCS/CITB, whoever it's down to, God knows. But energy costs in the UK are on average, €2,960 euros a year. So this is a European-based website I'm showing this, but 2,960 euros. In France, 650 euros. Spain, 620. Germany, 558. Denmark, 546. 545 in Austria, 543 in Norway. We are being charged a hell of a lot more money for energy in this country in comparison to anyone else. There is a huge, vast difference in average energy costs. Literally, yeah. The highest up there is France at 650 euros in Europe. In second place. Number one is us, 2,960 euros. We are being shafted beyond belief for energy. Again, I don't really understand all technical terms, but what I do know is the bottom line, what these guys are saying is that we're paying a hell of a lot more money. Unfortunately, guys, Everton Football Club is back in the headlines. I'm not targeting. I've got nothing against Langer O'Rourke. I've got nothing against Construction News for reporting it. But every week they say about Everton Football Club. This one just come up as well, just literally a couple of days ago. Lang's dismissed union claims about Everton Sparks. Langer O'Rourke has denied claims from Unite that unqualified electricians are working unsupervised on the £555 million Bramley Moor Dock Stadium, Everton Football Club. The union warned a risk of catastrophic damage occurring after alleged electricians made contracts stating that the junior workers may not be supervised. I've heard this before on the site. It's more the house bashing stuff that you'd have 25 electricians unqualified to qualified, and the minions behind the ones who aren't qualified just do all the work, and then the Sparkies who are qualified come past and sign it off. What means the main contractor doesn't actually have to pay for 25 qualified electricians. Heavily wrong, pretty heavily illegal, heavily dangerous, can cost people their lives later on down the line if electrical stuff goes wrong. So it's a mad one. If you've worked on a building site, if you're electricians, you'll know more about this. I don't. I'm not an electrician. Like I say, I'll put things in the ground, not above ground. And it doesn't. Yeah, say I'm just a bit stupid in that one. But so many. Is there a lot of people doing it? I think plumbing's the same, isn't it? Electricians who literally just working unqualified all around the place. Please get in touch. Let us know in the comments. This one says there's 200 electrical operatives on site and all projects. This is Langer O'Rourke's response, and all are supervised and comply with official regulations. Langer O'Rourke took possession of the stadium in 2021. Yeah, no smoke without fire, as they say. Hopefully that job can resolve itself, because we're getting a little bit bored about talking about it. All the problems going on all the time. But we put a post out about BAM last week. BAM and the money has gone, one comment on our TikTok said. But there was reports of an unnamed project that had propped them up or cost a lot of money. And in our comments, everyone's been going mad. Not going mad. Everyone's literally biting and literally shouting at us that it's about a hospital in Ireland. I'd never heard of this, but we've done a little bit of homework. It's really interesting. Just spoke to a mate of mine on the phone, actually, who's of an Irish lad. And he said, yeah, it's causing loads of problems back in, is it in Dublin, I think? A children's hospital. Obviously, we need the best things in the world for children's hospitals. We don't doubt that. But the problem isn't the overrun. It is that the cost was grossly underestimated, and all the information the market needed to squeeze the government was made public in a hurry to make an announcement. So yeah, there's a hospital. The paradox at the heart of the delayed and increasingly expensive National Children's Hospital is that it was rushed job with a sloppy start. It was amusing of Mary Lou McDonald to accuse Leo Varadkar of a hands-off approach in the Dáil this week. The part of the process that was meticulously planned was by the government. So it was predicted to be or priced at 983 million. It was then rejigged by looks of it to be 1.73 billion. That's not far off double. So that took a bit working out. And now it's looking to increase that budget to 2.24 billion euros. That's crazy, isn't it? I've never heard of it. But yeah, it seems like it's a doomed project. But just spend every penny you can, get the bloody thing done and start saving some more children, I think you should say. Yeah, I hope that irons it out. I didn't realise, never heard of an interesting one though. And I believe BAM are one of the main contractors behind there. So that's obviously seems like a sticky place to be for them. And that, our team of people out there, is about it, I believe. I'm just going to quickly double check a couple of things. Yeah. What have we got coming up? Nothing too much. We're doing quite a lot here in the studio, recording this week and next week. Very soon we've got a few cameras coming, and they will be shooting where I'm sitting and opposite sitting and from this side to this side, so we can get guests in here if you'd like to be a guest and explain and show us what your story's all about in the construction world. Maybe give us a few little tales of what you see, then please get involved. Let us know. We're more than welcome to let anybody into our studio if they want to come and deliver a message or just put across or have a little chinwag. It's all about the content and it's all about engaging with each other. So thank you very much for your time. Have a lovely week. Six Nations is back on. England, Scotland. Scotland. I always feel like Scotland aren't the favourites, but they keep on beating us. So fair play to them. I do like the Scottish rugby. You know, I do like it. There's something about the Jocks what I quite agree with. Is it they've been the underdogs for a long time, and now they're showing that we ain't no underdogs. Well, the English bastards have it. So all that William Wallace stuff. Let's be having you. Over to you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Safe travels. Get home safely. Drive safely. Go to work safely. Get home. Goodbye.